Was there any difference before you became a mom and after a mom?
Oh my goodness.
The gentleman who hired me as a photographer, my first job ever as a professional photographer, he hired me in January, and I had my son the following September. I'm very, very grateful that my husband has always been an extremely supportive man. Because you know what? There is nothing more important than your children. Absolutely nothing. Photography is a great thing, and it's funny because people look at, because my son's name is Cameron, they actually think I named my child Cameron for him. Really? I mean, come on, that'd be a little scary. I'm going to name my child Nick for Nikon. I mean, really, it just doesn't.
What we are lack of and how we can improve it.
How do you what?
What we lack of.
How long is your typical wedding day? Is it like 4 hours, 6 hours, or 12 hours? Have your husband, have your boyfriend, or get a high school kid to come and carry your stuff so that you can concentrate on one thing, and that is your craft as photographers. There's thousands of photographers in the San Francisco Bay Area. I never even think about what they're doing. I really don't. I don't care about what they're doing. I mean, I care about them as people, but I don't think about what they're doing because I really only am concerned about one thing, is how am I doing? I would say, what can I do that they're not doing? What can I do to have somebody really just have to hire me in spite of what I charge? Because ladies, let me ask you, because your client is the bride, right? She is absolutely the woman that you need to appeal to. We give ourselves permission to spend money, and it's okay, and it's appropriate. So don't think like a man when you want to approach and you're trying to attract the female client. I want the client who wants such an emotional experience that it overrides the logic. Oh my God, oh but honey, it's her wedding. Hire that $10,000 photographer. Yeah, it's our whole budget, but oh but honey, it's the only thing we have that lasts. So, am I right? Am I right?
Travel wedding photography, that means all these bride and restaurant, they go overseas just to take pictures. So what do you think about this kind of trends?
See, I think it's a really good thing to concentrate on, you know, that'd be a wonderful market for those kinds, and that's easy, that to me is easy photography, because if, you know, that means you're just only doing the fun stuff. Yes, I do see a very huge trend growing for doing boudoir photography, is what we call it in America. And we will touch on that, by the way, for those of you that are taking the seminar on Sunday, and of course we'll do that, of course, in our workshop. We'll touch on that as well. I understand that in this culture, your culture here, that there's probably a great need for women to photograph women. I know in the Muslim community, that's only women can photograph women. Hey, I'll tell you right now, I'd hire me a female photographer to work for my company so that I could address that. I have to tell you, I personally don't do boudoir photography. Don't do boudoir. In the boudoir community, doing that or the fine art nude, it's not sexually based. It's just very elegant, like you would see if you were going to go to a gallery, an art gallery, and seeing something of that nature. I specialize in photographing people. So I really believe that it's all part of the same, I honestly believe it's absolutely part of the same package. It's all part of the same experience. Because the way that I communicate and pose a bride is identical to the way that I pose a beautiful mother with her children. And I also now photograph her corporate events. They have a very, very large corporation, and they wouldn't even dream of hiring anybody else for their corporate events because they know that they want to make those people look good and actually look good in a picture. So I think there's nobody that has better training than a wedding photographer to be really good at communicating with people and being able to do corporate events or family photography and so forth. So, really good question.
Tell us the story of how you got involved in photography.
Oh, yes. I would be honored to tell you how I got started in photography. One of the greatest things that ever happened to me was that my mother was very, very strict, and she made it happen. I'm forever grateful to her because she's deceased now, but the thing I loved about my mother is that there was nothing she couldn't do. But when we were small children, we were so poor that I thought toast, you know, like bread toast for breakfast was a luxury. I'm from a small town in Georgia, which is in the south of America, south of the United States. In 1982, my husband walked in the door and said, "Hey baby, how do you feel about moving to California?" Well, I've never been there, so I said, "Hey, let's go." I never went to university. I'm the proud holder of a 2.0 GPA, just so you know, okay? And I graduated at the top of the bottom of my class. I did. So, but I wasn't dumb. Okay, I'm not a stupid woman. I was not interested. When they were talking algebra, you're going blah, 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 blah. Because you said, give me a camera, I'm an artist, you know, we wanted to do it that way, right? So within 3 months, we were completely broke. I mean, we did not have a penny to our name. I got a job as an executive secretary, because that's what you did in 1982 if you were a woman. There were very few women, there were very few female photographers in 1982. And then one of my girlfriends that I made in California, one of my friends said, hey Bambi, I know you have a good camera. I know this photographer who's looking for somebody to photograph weddings for him. This was the turning point in my life. I put my hand on the doorknob of that studio. I took my hand off the doorknob, ran back down the stairs and left the building and ran all the way down the street because I was so afraid he would turn me down. Thankfully, there was a red light at the corner. And I stopped for the red light, and then I just started thinking about how much I wanted to be a photographer. I love pictures, I love people, and I really wanted to do this I wanted to do it so badly. And so I made myself turn around, I ran up those stairs, and I walked through that door, and I said, hi, I'm Bambi Cantrell. I want to talk to you about coming to work for you. He hired me right on the spot, and how could he not? I told him I'd do it for free. I did, and I worked for him for a year without pay. That was the best pay, that was the best education I ever got. Because I could make all the mistakes on his dime, on his expense, and I learned from a trained professional who does it for a living, who taught me all the shortcuts, and most importantly, he taught me what not to do was. And so that's how I got my start. I worked for him for about 5 years, and then I finally, very reluctantly, opened my own studio and started my own business. But I will tell you today that if I left any of you, if there's any of you that are not going to attend the workshops and the seminars this weekend, the one thing I would love to leave you with is please, 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 don't allow fear to rule your life.
Thank you, Bambi, for a great insight.
Inspirational, right? Thank you so much.